We play Tim Waltz. Oh, there's so much to get to here today. By the way, I said this to Magdalene Rose on our awesome coverage, best in the business, of Trump's Butler Rally on Saturday. When I asked her and I said, why do you think the Democrats are doing this? She goes, they don't care about North Carolina. They don't care about MAGA people because those are Trump voters. That's why. I'm like, that's a really cynical thing to do. What about the people in the media? Why doesn't the MSM? They were all over Hurricane Katrina when it was Bush's fault. And then she said something to me and I went, wait a minute, Magdalene. Why isn't CNN covering this? Why isn't Anderson Cooper, DC 180? Why isn't he camped out at somebody's home or camp or a former home near Asheville, North Carolina? Most people don't know this, but I do. You know that the floods did some damage to the Biltmore estate? And the area nearby the Biltmore estate, biggest home in North America. You know who built the Biltmore estate? By the way, we're never going to get any records done in the Crusader Stadium chat room, on our troll-free chat room, if you people don't check in every now and then. crusadechannel.com/chat. So, matter of fact, we're just going to write today off. It's not going to happen, but there's still a lively conversation in here. You know who built the Biltmore? Anderson Cooper's great-grandfather. The Vanderbilts. Most people don't know this. Anderson Cooper is Gloria Vanderbilt's grandson. Why doesn't he care? This is what I don't get. Supposedly CNN is trying to rebuild its image. Well, well then go to Asheville. Again, you have a direct connection. Anderson Cooper is the grandson of Gloria Vanderbilt. Her grandfather, Cornelius Vanderbilt, built the damn thing. They have a connection. So I don't get it, but I know what we're going to play, Maggie. Here, if you're not already hopping mad over all this, and you should be, play. Hang on. Number 10. This is what FEMA thinks emergency preparedness is. Believe me, you people in North Carolina are so much better off with Johnny Reb coming to help you than you are with any government entity. The only people that could do anything about this to your benefit is the North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee National Guard, and the Cajun Navy. The Cajun Navy is so awesome because the Cajun Navy knows how to get mules and goats to climb out, to go over mountains and bring supplies. What does FEMA know? This is what FEMA knows. Watch. Listen.
Sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that.
Stop the tape for just a second. Let me describe this for people that are listening on radio. That thing, whatever that creature is, Tyler what?
Atkins. He goes by, hey, them.
Hi, Tyler Atkins there and stuff. Hi, Toodles. Hey, I like work for FEMA and stuff. This Tyler Atkins character is sitting there on a Zoom call with the FEMA logo background.
Yep.
Okay? He is talking about the importance of getting to homos and trannies first in any emergency because they're already or disproportionately affected. They already have an uphill battle. In the Biden regime, they have it. Roll the tape. This is
just
sick.
Compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much.
Bang.
Maggie.
Thank you.
Bang.
There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as
Bang.
an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this. She gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have
Single
to just allow
cat
for the
lady!
little meowing in the background.
You can't make this stuff up.
The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more.
I
right?
can't take it.
Disaster equity.
What in the hell is disaster equity? These people are talking about killing or leaving to rot or to die or defend themselves, American citizens. My old Mike Church Sirius XM show, I could say it. I could go sophomoric locker room and tell you, and maybe I should do it anyway. Because you can perform orally on a man and you're a man? This puts you at the head of the line? My Lord, those are Harris's and Biden's people. By the way, have you seen the Trump ad? They finally got the memo that Kakala, heels up Harris, boasted and bragged for years about how she takes credit for it. She says she did it. She pushed a bill through the California legislature. She did it. She said, I had the tape. Trump made a campaign out of it. Finally, they've gotten the memo. She says she pushed through a bill in 2000, the bill would have gone through in 2017, through the California legislature that compels the state of California to pay for the sex change surgical procedures for inmates, whether they're legal citizens or not, doesn't matter, in the California penitentiary system. Prisoners now can get a sex change operation, and California has to pay for it. And Harris boasts and brags that it's her bill. Again, I'm going to ask the question again. How is this woman polling in double digits? You had Democrats that couldn't stomach her extremism, her communist bona fides, if you will. You had literally had Democrats in Iowa going like, I ain't buying that. You ought to just quit, sweetheart, because nobody is caucusing for you. This is, I just, for the life of me, I don't understand. I truly, are the polls rigged? They have to be. I don't know what is the more excruciatingly painful thought. That 47% or 48% of to our friends, the Beamans and Vince in Pittsburgh and all of you guys that live in Pennsylvania, do 48% really of your fellow citizens really want that creature to run the federal government of the United States, to be their representative when it comes to any matter of foreign policy, to be the yay or nay on whether or not to launch nukes, to be the yay or nay on whether or not your kids are going to get equitable treatment in a sea of trannies and homosexuals in government-run schools, to run the risk that, hey, this wench is going to stop fracking. It's going to happen. My question to people in Pennsylvania, do you really believe, here, can anyone in Pennsylvania outside of certain areas in Philadelphia point to, send me a picture of a Harris Waltz yard sign? Remember back in 2012, I had all these truckers calling me, and I called it the yard sign poll, that Romney and Paul Ryan were going to win because they were winning the yard sign poll. And that, I'll tell you what, buddy. This is where I got the, I'll tell you what, buddy. I'm the old one state of Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, I've seen the yard signs out there. I ain't never seen not a single old bummer. No old bummer. But yard sign, I've seen all kind of Romney. I'm telling you, them polls are screwed. No, the polls were right. Now, the guilt-tripped white people that voted for Obama, I kind of understand. They're just the victims of MK Ultra style, never-ending propaganda. You can't say the same thing for Harris and Waltz. These two people are detestable. They're not likable. They're terrible candidates. She had the lowest Q approval rating of any person in the executive branch. Dan Quayle was more popular than Kamala Harris. And I'm supposed to believe that this is a neck-and-neck race. And I know you want to stay in it. That's neck-and-neck. Oh, fine. Okay, fine. Campaign all the way to the end. How is that possible? I mean, people are stupid. We all know that. But are you stupid and suicidal at the same time? Look, I can tolerate a dumbass. We all know dumbasses. I can tolerate a dumbass. I can't tolerate a dumbass that has a suicide wish and that wants to take me along with him. I don't want to go along for that ride. Do you? My Lord. I got to tell you, Fox News is doing a really good job. They got like 4 reporters in North Carolina reporting on all this. Look at all the people that are missing. Look at that board. Does that look like 20 people there? Does that look like that there are 20 people that are? Oh, actually, that's in Palestine. That was in Palestine. In any event, Mike Churchill on the Crusade Radio Network here on a Tuesday. You know, let's hear from. We haven't played any of Elon. This is Elon Goes Dark MAGA. Let's play both of them. Play Digital Media File number 2. Hey, thank you, Padre G. Wow, Order St. Francis, Padre. Pax et bonum. No, Padre. Thank you, Padre. Don't. You took a vow of poverty. You, and you're a Franciscan. I don't want your donation. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you're a Franciscan, man. You probably don't even have $150. But thank you. In honor of 150 Aves in the Most Holy Rosary, Pax et Bonum, Padre G, OSF, in the YouTube stadium chat room. Padre, thank you so much. God bless you. Say a prayer for us, will you, Padre? And please, I know you're already doing this, God, pray for these people in the Carolinas. The good people. Here's Elon. Now, again, the Republicans have never had the cool factor. I mean, they kind of had it with Trump. In 2016, you kind of had the Trump. I mean, he was a known entertainment commodity, if you will, or a person. But they never had Nikolai Tesla, one of the cool kids with the pumped-up kicks on their side. But they do now. Elon Musk, Butler, PA, Saturday.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight. Blood coming down the face.
That's the greatest line.
Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah, absolutely.
Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think people, especially old guys like me and Dr. Torres, Torres gets it though. Dr. Torres says, "Love me some Elon Musk, but I still ain't buying a Tesla." Okay, dude, Dr. Torres, if you've ever ridden in a Tesla EX, you may not say that, because Maggie and I rode in a Tesla EX, pretty freaking cool. In any event, I don't think this is sunk in, and I don't think people realize. Elon Musk has an 18 to 34-year-old male following that no one else in the world has. He literally is Schwarzenegger at his peak, like with Terminator 2 in that era there. Movie star kind of like popularity. He literally is. But the thing about Elon is it's not just the cool factor. It's the guy's genius. And it's the get things done factor. The man says, I'm going to put into space a network of small, affordable satellites in low orbit that are going to deliver the internet to people, and he does it. If you go on YouTube, I think it's one of the coolest things I have ever seen. If you go on YouTube, there's a video that Starlink, Starlink has been in the process for 15 years. And the development. There were videos that were made. Let's see, this is 2024. I got Starlink in 2021, right? 2021. So that video was 6 years old when I watched it. So go back to 2015. It's about 9 minutes long, and it explains the entire concept of the Starlink system. It's not just this first set of satellites that is at 380 miles orbit that you can get an app to see if it's passing over your house. There are 5 planned layers of Starlink. The only way you would know this is if you went and looked it up. So the first layer is there. They've got that one done, okay? The second part of the project was to implement lasers, satellite-to-satellite communication using lasers, which no one else is doing, but Starlink, SpaceX figured out how to do it. So they're implementing that. The third layer, or the third phase, is there's going to be a layer of birds or satellites above phase 1. There's a phase 2 level. And again, I had to go back and watch the video to kind of jog my memory of what the phase 2 satellites are supposed to do. But they increase the amount of data and bandwidth. I know that. So you're not just dealing with someone that is kind of waded into politics here. I mean, the guy's a real deal. He really believes. Here, I asked a question. I asked one of my nerd buddies yesterday. Do you think Elon Musk is Zefram Cochrane? I'm not going to tell you who Zefram Cochrane is. Go in the chat room, crusadechannel.com/chat. Do you think Elon Musk is Zefram Cochrane? I think there's a possibility that he may actually be Zefram Cochrane. Now, again, you nerds out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Play the second one, Maggie. Play digital media file number 3. About voter ID. Here's Elon again. He wasn't on stage for very long. Just pretty much it.
This election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You've got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. So how are you supposed to have a proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment.
I can't believe that I can't believe that on MSNBC and CNN and the rest of the left-hard media that they haven't picked up on this, that Elon Musk calls for an armed revolt, a rebellion, an insurrection, that they're coming for us. But he is absolutely correct that Amendment 1 guarantees most people don't understand this because they're incorporationistas. And they've never heard Mike Church explain to them why the First Amendment is there and why it's important and why you also have a First Amendment in your state. Almost every state constitution has a carbon copy of Amendment 1, and almost every state constitution has a carbon copy of Amendment 2 in some form. Why? And why are they in that order? You're going to have to wait to the break. I'll tell you. By the way, today is the feast of Our Lady of Victory. And the greatest naval battle in history was fought at LePanto. And it was fought in Lepanto, which is a bay off the coast of Italy. And the Holy Fleet, which was called for by Pope Saint Pius V, was comprised, Father Damien told a story yesterday of the brave men of, I forget what the island was, but when Ali Mustafa, who was the head of the Ottoman Navy, landed, was it Crete or Cyprus? I forget. Landed on the island, was it Grimaldi? I think his name was Grimaldi, Anthony Grimaldi, was the mayor of the town, and the Mohammedans went in there and went, convert to Islam or die. And Grimaldi, I think it was Grimaldi, said to the admiral of the Ottoman Navy, okay, all right, we hear you. Can you give us a couple of days to talk amongst ourselves and think about it? And surprisingly, the Muslims said yes. Give them 5 days. Well, in the 5 days that passed, that allowed Don John of Austria, one of the great Don Johns, Don John of Austria, to rally the Holy Fleet and put 210 ships into the water. And they met the Mohammedan fleet, which had 380 galleons, on this morning, on this day, 1578, at the bay and the Sea of Lepanto. And a battle royale ensued. And by the way, you know who were the oarsmen on all the Mohammedan ships? Kidnapped Christians. The battle began, and Don John, the wind changed. They were praying rosaries all across Christendom at Pius V's urging, and the wind changed, putting the wind in the face of the Mohammedans and at the back of Don John's fleet, and they broke the crescent line. The Mohammedans had decided the Ottomans they were going to surround the Holy Fleet by forming a crescent, the Muslim crescent, by forming a crescent. And Don John's lead ships broke through the crescent, sank the two lead ships, went on board Ali Mustafa's ship, captured him, cut his head off, and put it on the mast, on the front mast. They mounted it on the front mast right in front of the statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And the battle was on. By the time noon had rolled around, high noon, the Mohammedans had 150 some odd ships had been sank to the bottom of the Mediterranean. The Christians had lost 50 ships or something like that. And the Ottoman fleet was destroyed. And the Ottoman Empire would never rebuild its navy. It's over. That's how powerful the victory was. And that's why we Catholics call today Our Lady of Victory. Originally, it was Our Lady of Victory, and then it was changed to Our Lady of the Rosary, the Victory at LePanto. G.K. Chesterton wrote a poem about it, and I'm going to share it with you in the final minutes of the program today at crusadechannel.com. So check that out. Let's do some more digital media files. Play Trump. Let's do Trump. Digital media file number 6. This was a command-defiant performance. This is a man that is basically saying to the American people, do it one more time. I'm asking you, don't give up. Yeah, they're going to try and cheat. That's what they do. But don't give up. Get out there and vote. And by the way, Larry, we don't have any of the clips. I don't see them on the sheet, but I can tell you because we broadcast it. Eric Trump and Lara Trump did the first introduction of President Trump about a half an hour before he went on the stage. Lara Trump said that the Republican Party had made a goal back in May of recruiting 100,000 poll workers, watchers, etc. And they had met the goal, but they didn't just meet the goal in true Trump fashion. They doubled it. They had recruited 200,000 volunteer campaign workers. 200,000. Then they got up there and they delivered a line about, if you're a Democrat and you're watching this and you're listening to this, if you're someone that's going to help them cheat, we are going to win. And when we win, we're going to find out who you are, and you are going to pay. You are going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and you're going to jail. That was said at the Butler Rally before Trump took the stage. So play Trump. Digital media file number, we'll start with 6.
You know the expression they have? If that were a fight, they would have stopped it, right? So I just want to thank JD. I was always confident in that pick. And we had great people too, JD. We have every one of those guys were great. Every one of them would have done a great job. It was amazing. But we appreciate the job you're doing. And he's also very energetic. And he'll go on anywhere. He'll go on MSDNC. I say, oh, he's on that. He'll go on CNN. It's like he has no problem. He swats them like this. He has no problem. No, it's true. You know, other people say, sir, I'd rather not do that one. I'd rather not do that one, sir. I'd rather not do them because they are, you know, very. With him, he doesn't care. He says, they're not going to outsmart me. So I want to thank JD. You've done a great job. Thank you very much.
They're not going to outsmart me. He just swats them away. Go ahead and play the what?
I said it was funny it was funny that he said MSDNC.
Oh, MSTNC. Here is a Saturday night. Even Saturday Night Live is getting in on this, making fun
This is funny.
of Kamala. By the way, and I know that she's politically screwed in the head, so I'm just going to have a preemptive shot here, though. But Maya Rudolph is funny. She really is, and she does a really good Kamala.
Okay, he's out there. He's doing his thing, whatever that may be.
She's guzzling wine.
Relax. You know, you haven't had a night off in 3 months. Do you want to watch something less stressful like the Menendez Brothers show?
I don't know, Dougie. I kind of wish I had picked Josh right now.
Oh, Josh Shapiro?
No, Josh. Cabernet.
Look, it'll be fine. It's not like he's going to say something crazy.
I've become friends with school shooters.
She breaks the wine glass in her hand. It was Kamala and Doug Emhoff. What is it with the Democrats and the last names, by the way? And Emhoff watching the Walls fans debate. Now, look, they picked up on it. Lorne Michaels and the writers at Saturday Night Live picked up on the fact that wench is drunk. She is just like Nazi Pelosi, Weinbach's Nan. She is drunk a lot of times in public. She is hammered. Hammered. What's that, Maggie? It'd have to be to what? To be, yeah, you wonder how you can hold these diabolical thoughts in your head at the same time. All right. The censorship industrial complex is for reals. Here, play Hillary. Here is Hillary. Just on the Clinton News Network going, well, if we lose the ability to censor them, then we lose everything. Really? Really?
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. That if the
Just answer the question, dumbass.
I thought it was 30 some odd seconds. There's a 30-second some odd version out there. In any event, we lose control. Are you saying that you currently control? Wait a minute. I thought it was a free press. How are you currently controlling it? Michael Schellenberger has a piece out today on his public. Let's see, where did I see it at? Here it is. The censorship industrial complex is U.S. government counter-populist blowback. Mike bends on the U.S. government's role in creating the global war on free speech. Did you know that there is a global war now on free speech? This is why they're trying to get Elon. Brazil has already banned X. If you were in Brazil and you had an X account, you don't have one anymore. You can't access it. If they can figure out how to do this in Brazil, then they can figure out how to do this here. And I would not be surprised if the Biden-Harris regime wasn't planning to do this in the last 2 weeks of the campaign, because Trump is not going to agree to another debate. Cackle is out. She's out of ammo. There's not going to be another debate. She already did her 60 Minutes last night. Who did the 60 Minutes? I think she did 60 Minutes last night. That's not going to happen. So, here, look, censorship. Play Emma Tucker, Wall Street Journal chief editor at the World Economic Forum. Here, you want to talk about censorship? Listen to this. And by the way, when she's talking about, for example, the Crusade Radio Network. That's what this is. They are terrified of us. That means they're terrified of you, listeners out there.
If you go back really not that long ago, as I say, we owned the news. We were the gatekeepers, and we very much owned the facts as well. If it said it in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, then that was a fact. Nowadays, people can go to all sorts of different sources for the news, and they're much more questioning about what we're saying. So it's no longer good enough for us just to say, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working. So readers expect to understand how we source stories. They want to know how we go about getting stories. We have to sort of lift the bonnet, as it were, and in a way that newspapers aren't used to doing, and explain to people what we're doing. We need to be much more transparent about how we go about collecting the news.
Much more transparent about how we go about collecting news. We owned the news. We owned the facts, she said. To that end, John Rambo Kerry, same world, the World Economic Forum und all the stakeholders are together here in Davos. We are here as the origin of the Klaus Schwab. I am the godfather of the censorship industrial complex movement and of the vaccine. And you will earn nothing, and you will be happy. So don't worry about where you get the news. We have approved of it all.
And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today. You can't, there's no...
Why don't you people just let them run over you?
Determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact. They've kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go, and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information. And then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda.
You mean like
and
NBC?
They're putting out disinformation.
You mean like ABC?
Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So
All right, enough.
What you need...
Hammer what out of existence? Oh, we had the right to have disinformation. You do not have the right to have disinformation. Why not? You do. You have disinformation every day. John Rambo Kerry, we lose the right to hammer disinformation out of existence. Good. Now, finally today, then I'm going to read LePanto. I'm not going to play this whole clip, but just to prove to you people, what TKD is closed-minded. He doesn't listen to us anymore. He doesn't take it away. He doesn't take... Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I told you people, I am looking into what that may have been done to the weather over the Appalachians prior to Helene, because there was already flooding going on. And I don't deny that there are mechanisms in place to control weather. Here, this woman's name is Kristen Megan, 9-year Air Force veteran and a whistleblower, who goes like, all right, I'll tell you how they do it.
Here with Kristen Megan, she's a military veteran, right?
Yes, I was in the U.S. Air Force for 9 years.
Wow. And you came out and blew the whistle on geoengineering, things that you witnessed were going on. Can you give us the real nutshell?
Absolutely. Basically, I had heard of what many people know as the term chemtrails. And I worked in a job called bioenvironmental engineering. And I thought that was insane. And why would we do something like that? Modify the weather by using hazardous materials in our atmosphere. So, and actually the process of trying to debunk it or disprove it, I realized it was actually coming right out of my office, as I was one of the people that was approving the chemicals. And it really shook the core of my oath. And I did a lot of sampling, a lot of investigation, and I blew the whistle and I got out. And I've now used my credentials, my oath, and my powers for good to help people understand it's very real. It's now openly admitted. There are multiple forms of weather modification. I specifically found the one of stratospheric aerosol injection. And collectively around the globe, we have to understand that it is now being admitted because they're saying it's combating climate change. Well, the climate change we need to be worried about is man-made climate engineering, also known as geoengineering.
And when you say you had chemicals being pumped into the air, what kind of chemicals are they putting out that rain down on humanity, basically?
Nanoparticulate metals, like we had different sulfates and barium and strontium. I know it's probably changed over time. I know they use silver iodide for certain things, but these are the odd part of it was the quantities that I saw them coming in, the form that they were coming in, and it's the same type of materials that I was trying to engineer out of the workplace to substitute with safer materials. And when you notice that what's called the safety data sheet, the information about a chemical of what personal protective equipment to wear, how do you dispose of it, how do you pack it to ship it. When key information is missing, I
okay,
ask questions.
you get the idea. It's MSDS. It's a manufacturer's SDS, safety data sheet is what she was talking about. By the by, I see the comment in the chat room about Michael Matt saying that he's got a source that told him that as soon as the election is over, that Trump is going to go all anti-life and is going to put a final dagger into the back of the pro-life movement. I don't know who the source is, and I'm just going to say that I don't know why that's even practical from a governing standpoint. It's not necessary to do it. So why would you?
I was just going to add that we always talk about how Hollywood emanates what's happening in real life. This is Snowpiercer, the last season of Snowpiercer.
Yes.
Remember? The scientists put something in the air to combat climate change, and it caused an ice age.
That's right. Watch Snowpiercer, the TV series. In season 4, it's revealed that the government caused the Great Ice Age because they were trying to fight climate change. And they went too far. Okay, 844-527-8723. And again, I'm not poo-pooing what Michael Matt said. I'm just that doesn't make any practical sense to me. And now, provided that people push back against Republicans doing this, and Governor DeSantis is still out there and is still pro-life. Very much so. So, don't have enough time to discuss that because I want to read about the Battle of LePanto. G.K. Chesterton. White founts falling in the courts of the sun, and the Soldan of Byzantium is smiling as they run. There is laughter like the fountains in that face of all men feared. It stirs the forest darkness, the darkness of his beard. It curls the blood-red crescent, the crescent of his lips. For the inmost sea of all the earth is shaken with his ships. They have dared the white republics up the capes of Italy. They have dashed the Adriatic round the lion of the sea. And the Pope has cast his arms abroad for agony and loss, and called the kings of Christendom for swords about the cross. The cold Queen of England is looking in the glass. The shadow of the Valois is yawning at the mass. From evening isles fantastical rings faint the Spanish gun, and the Lord upon the golden horn is laughing in the sun. Dim drums throbbing in the hills half heard, where only a nameless throne a crownless prince has stirred. He's talking about Don John. Where, risen from a doubtful seat and half-attained stall, the last knight of Europe takes weapons from the wall. The last and lingering troubadour to whom the bird has sung, the once went singing southward when all the world was young. In that enormous silence, well, you know what? We're not going to finish it. We'll pick it up on YouTube. So, if you want to hear the end of Lepanto, then go over to the Crusade Radio Network on the YouTube. This is called The Goosh, by the way. So the Goosh is coming your way in just moments on the Crusade Radio Network. Thanks for being with us. KV, Charlie, and Fiorella are live today. Wait a minute. I think actually Fiorella is out, and Tommy and Justin are filling in here on the Crusade Radio Network. Shop in the store. Shop.mikechurch.com. God bless you. Merry keep you.
I'm going where the water tastes like wine.
All right, and now for the Goosh. Wait. There's something else. We'll finish up the Lepanto poem here on Zayubu. The last knight of Europe takes weapons from the wall. The last and lingering troubadour to whom the bird has sung, that once went singing southward when all the world was young. In that enormous silence, teeny and unafraid, comes up along a winding road the noise of the crusade. Strong gongs groaning as the guns boom far, Don John of Austria is going to the war. Stiff flags straining in the night blast cold, in the gloom black purple, in the glint old gold. torchlit crimson on the copper kettle drums, then the tuckets, then the trumpets, then the cannon, and he comes. Don John laughing in the brave beard curled, spurning of his stirrups like the thrones of all the world, holding his head up for a flag of all the free. Love light of Spain, hurrah! Deaf light of Africa, Don John of Austria is riding to the sea. My hound is in his paradise above the evening star. Don John of Austria is going to the war. He moves a mighty turban on the timeless Uri's knees, his turban that is woven of the sunset and the seas. He shakes the peacock gardens as he rises from his ease, and he strides among the treetops and is taller than the trees. And his voice through all the garden is a thunder sent to bring Black Azrael and Ariel and Ammon on the wing. Giants in the Genii, multiplex of wing and eye, whose strong obedience broke the sky when Solomon was king. They rush in red and purple from the red clouds of the morn, from temples where the yellow gods shut up their eyes in scorn. They rise in green robes roaring from the green hells of the sea, where fallen skies and evil hues and eyeless creatures be. On them the sea valves cluster and the gray sea forests curl, splashed with a splendid sickness, the sickness of the pearl. They swell in sapphire smoke out of the blue cracks of the ground. They gather and they wonder and give worship to my hound. And he saith, break up the mountains where the hermit folk can hide, and sift the red and silver sands, lest bone of saint abide. And chase the gyres flying night and day, not giving rest. From that which was our trouble comes again out of the west. We have set the seal of Solomon on all things under sun, of knowledge and of sorrow, and endurance of things done. But a noise is in the mountains, and I know the voice that shook our palaces 400 years ago. It is he that saith, not Kismet. It is he that knows not fate. It is Richard, it is Raymond, it is Godfrey at the gate. It is he whose loss is laughter when he counts the wager worth. Put down your feet upon him, that our peace be on the earth. For he heard drums groaning, and he heard guns jar. Don John of Austria is going to the war. Sudden and still, hurrah! Bolt from Iberia, Don John of Austria is gone by Alcalar. St. Michael's on his mountain in the sea roads of the north. Don John of Austria is girt and going forth. Where the gray seas glitter and the sharp tides shift, and the sea folk labor and the red sails lift. He shakes his lance of iron, and he claps his wings of stone. The noise has gone through Normandy. The noise has gone alone. The north is full of tangled things and texts and aching eyes, and dead is all the innocence of anger and surprise. And Christian killeth Christian in a narrow, dusty room, and Christian dreadeth Christ that hath a newer face of doom. And Christian hateth Mary that God kissed in Galilee, but Don John of Austria is riding to the sea. Don John calling through the blast and the eclipse, crying with the trumpet of his lips. Trumpet that saith, ha! Domino, Gloria! Don John of Austria is shouting to the ships. King Philip's in his closet with the fleece about his neck. Don John of Austria is armed upon the deck. The walls are hung with velvet that is black and soft as skin, as sin, and little dwarfs creep out of it, and little dwarfs creep in. He holds a crystal phial that is colors like the moon. He touches, and it tingles, and he trembles very soon. And his face is as a fungus of a leprous white and gray, like plants in the high houses that are shuttered from the day. And death is in the file, and the end of noble work, but Don John of Austria has fired upon the Turk. Don John's hunting, and his hounds have bayed. Booms away past Italy the rumor of his raid. Gun upon gun, ha, ha! Gun upon gun, hoorah! Don John of Austria has loosed the cannonade. The Pope was in his chapel before day or battle broke. Don John of Austria is hidden in the smoke. The hidden room in man's house where God sits all the year, the secret window whence the world looks, small and very dear. He sees as in a mirror on the monstrous twilight sea, the crescent of his cruel ships, whose name is Mystery. They fling great shadows forwards, making cross and castle dark. They veil the plumed lions on the galleys of St. Mark. And above the ships are palaces of brown, black-bearded chiefs, and below the ships are prisons where the multitudinous griefs. Christian captives, sick and sunless, all a laboring race repines, like a race in sunken cities, like a nation in the mines. They are lost like slaves that swat, and in the skies of morning hung the stairways of the tallest gods where tyranny was young, when tyranny was young. They are countless, voiceless, hopeless as those fallen or fleeing on before the high king's horses in the granite of Babylon. And many a one grows, witless in his quiet room in hell, where a yellow face looks inward through the lattice of his cell. But he finds his God forgotten, and he seeks no more a sign. But Don John of Austria has burst the battle line. Don John pounding from the slaughter-painted poop, purling all the ocean like a bloody pirate sloop. Scarlet running over the silvers and the golds, breaking of the hatches up and bursting of the holds. Thronging of the thousands up that labor under sea, white for bliss and blind for sun, and stunned for liberty. Vivat Hispania! Domino Gloria! Don John of Austria has set his people free. Cervantes on his galley sets the sword back in the sheath. Don John of Austria rides homeward with a wreath. And he sees across a weary land a straggling road in Spain, upon which a lean and foolish knight forever rides in vain. And he smiles, but not as sultans smile, and settles back the blade. But Don John of Austria rides home from the crusade. And there you have it, LePanto by Gilbert Keith Chesterton. Subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the bell down there, giving us the thumbs up, and subscribing and sharing the channel. Make a contribution to our cause in the chat down there using the $sign, or go to crusadechannel.com/donate. Better yet, really support the Crusade Radio Network and become a Founders Pass subscriber today. You get access to our troll-free chat room, all of my 2,000 plus podcasts. You get great perks like the Deliver Us from Evil tapes. The only other way to get the Deliver Us from Evil tapes, episode 1 through 4 about Amityville and the Amityville horror, is by going to crusadechannel.com, becoming a Founders Pass member. You can get access that way, or signing up for my daily church doctrine newsletter, email update every morning of what's coming up on the show, the 3 things every patriot ought to know, the Veritas et Sapientia, the truth and wisdom of the day, a great quote from some famous and genius person far wiser than I, all delivered to your email box. Don't cost nothing. It's free. Sign up today. Just go to crusadechannel.com. You'll see the Deliver Us from Evil banners at the top of any page. And as a bonus, you get the four Episode 1 through 4, Deliver Us from Evil, almost 4 hours. A great program, and you can't get anywhere else. Me and former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie, they wrote a book about this called Deliver Us from Evil. They made a movie about it. Scott Derrickson did in 2015 called Deliver Us from Evil. Many of you may have seen it. Eric Banya played Ralph Sarchie in the movie. Get the podcast series that he and I did back in 2017. Free. I'll trade you that for your email address. Go to crusadechannel.com, click on the banner at the top of any page. That'll do it for us here today. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. God bless you. Merry keep you, and a blessed feast of Our Lady of Victory.